Amy, if you will start the recording.
I read your mind. You're good.
Oh, you're already recording it. Sorry. Thank you, Amy. She's so efficient. Don't you guys love the She's doing all the emails for me now, and I love the emails that she's doing. Today was especially good, Amy. I love it. I went to see it as soon as I got it. So love, love, love. So get ready, because Amy's going to be taking over more and more of what we do, because I want to spend more and more time with new clients, like Miss Tarina Wilder, who just joined us. And and David Morse, I've talked to him. He's a potential client. And David, what's the other David's last name? Amy Ballure, the one that wrote about the Chip Channel. So David Ballure, Balloure, we're going to be doing his book launch for him in September. Tarina and I have already had a few conversations. So Tarina, it's wonderful to see you. I want to spend more time with you guys. I have such a great time when I get to know you. I've been talking to David Balog. He is with James Hill and the Rock Hill Publishing Company. And so I've been talking to David in our team meeting for a while. And then we had our 1 hour long call last week. And not that I now know everything about David, but I do know enough about him to see where his interest is. And that helps me. Oh my gosh, it helps me. Because sometimes we have these conversations, and then later it hits me. Oh, and one example, I just had an example of that, Athena. So we have Athena's reboot for her book in August, and last week in the I think it was in the Rock Hill call that we started talking about romance. Was that in the Rock Hill call, or was that another call? Where's James? James, do you remember?
I don't remember. It was the Wednesday night one. I think it was the Wednesday.
Okay, then that was our Rock Hill team meeting. Is that what it was, James?
I'm thinking it was the Friday
morning
one, when she was saying that she didn't know what to say because she was a romance writer.
And so our mastermind. Yes.
That was a mastermind, I believe.
So I've been thinking about that. And I've been thinking about what Athena said. And if you guys didn't hear it, you're lost, because she had a great, it wasn't like a 2 or 3 sentence. It was a few minutes that she talked about romance.
It was her speech.
It was
about being a speech, right? It was her speech about romance and what
Does she give that speech very often?
I hear it a lot.
So
she's very shy. She is very shy, and it's hard for her to come out.
I know. But that's okay. She's there. When she says something, we know to listen.
Yes.
Okay. Unlike you and me, James, people have to wait for a chance to speak. So, and I get that. That is me. I'm describing me. I know that. So, Athena, back to your romance. I want to do, when we do the reboot and Kathy Horizon, thank you for being here and for sitting right next to Athena. So I want you and Athena to get together. Her book will be coming out in August. It is a relaunch with a new cover, all of that, similar to what we're doing with your book. And I want her to tell you what she said about romance books and romance writers. And honestly, I think she's dead on. People have the perception. Remember that perception. When you perceive something, you count that as being real, and that's not always. But a lot of people have the perception that romance books are not as deep, not as whatever, as maybe some historical fiction books or some other books. I'm not even going to go down the list, but all the others. So, and she was talking, and oh my gosh, what she said about it is, you know, do you want to say it again now, Athena, or do you
I
want
have no idea what I
Oh.
said. It was a moment thing.
Okay, well, so she was saying about romance that I mean, the world revolves on romance. We have to have, we have romance in all of our lives. So why would that not be the most popular book there is? So, Kathy, I want that to be kind of the concept behind the press release. Kathy will write the press release. Have you written anything else for Athena, Kathy?
Yes, I wrote Athena and James together, I think.
Okay, so
about
this
the
is just
publishing
Athena.
company. Yeah.
Okay, good.
What kind of a deadline are we looking at?
August, so
okay.
later in July. We're not going to send it out till the 1st of August.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's middle to late August for
Okay.
for the romance stuff.
Okay, that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Athena, in the chat, I will give you my contact information, and then if you would contact me, it would save me digging through back files trying to find it again.
Okay.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
I will do that.
Thank you, Athena, for saying that. So that's one of the reasons I love doing what I do and what I do best with the meetings with everybody and getting to know them and connecting them. And so Amy will be taking over more and more of the not admin, we all do admin, but taking more of the press release, sending out the press releases, all of that stuff that she's so wonderful at. I spent the afternoon, besides getting my presentation ready, I spent the afternoon working on our affiliate marketing page, which will go live by the end of June, which kept calling it close. And this week in one of my masterminds, or my other mastermind, this week is called Hustle Week. And she goes, I want to hear what you're going to hustle on, and I want to hear on Friday that you completed it. So I've already said on Friday we will send out the email inviting anyone to join the affiliate program. Is there anyone here not familiar with affiliates? Affiliate programs, affiliate anything? Okay, good. You all know that. Oh, Trina, then let's you and I have a call. I want to talk to you about that anyway. So, so we had our meeting last week, our presentation last week, and that was with Felicia Slattery, and she talked about your signature speech. What should be your signature speech?
Was part of that. So is that what you mean by affiliates groups?
I'm sorry.
I was available for Felicia's speech.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's okay. So no, we ended affiliates. Now we're talking about speaking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so affiliate means that basically the affiliate program means that if you sign up to be part of it, you get paid when we make money, you make money. So, and it's not like an MLM, it's not like anything like that, not like a pyramid scheme, it's just that you will have a link, and when you invite someone to visit this group, then you can invite them using your link, which means that if they join and if they pay, which that's how they would join, then you get a percentage of that. And because this is a monthly meeting, because it's a weekly meeting and you pay monthly, then you will get a check monthly, or you'll get paid monthly based on your percentage of what I get for this group, or however many people you have join. And what I'm paying for this group is 30%. So I make 47 right now, you're gonna get 30% of that. And then, so there's more to know about it, and we'll start teaching you more about it as you sign up for the program. And so that way we won't have to teach everybody, but we'll teach those that are interested and those that sign up. So Tarina, you and I can talk more about that if you have any questions. Okay, so tonight, so we left the signature speech right now. So tonight we're going to go a little bit more into the signature speech, but more into tips for authors who want to speak. And if you're an author that doesn't want to speak, then you need to change your mind, change your plan. Because speaking, and I'm going to get into that in just a second, let me make sure I have it on. Okay. Okay. So speaking tips and tricks. And by the way, you will want a picture like this on your website, on the area where you talk about your speaking. Only you won't have the audience blurred like this one. You want the people to, you want to see the people. So I'm suggesting that, and I know it's difficult right now because of COVID, you know, everybody's speaking virtually, and that might be a great one to get a picture of a group of people on Zoom and you being the speaker. So there's all kind of things, but you do need a picture, some pictures. Okay, here's public speaking in general. This is what it consists of. It's your performance. You know, a lot of people speaking publicly have anxiety. You've heard that it's the most feared thing to do, even higher than death. So people would rather be dead than do speaking, a lot of them. You do presentations, communications, those are all. That's another image that you could use. And just search, whatever you do not go to Google to find the images. That is absolutely illegal. And people watch that, people that own a lot of the images, and Getty owns most images, and they will watch you for a couple of, especially if they see you using one image, they'll watch you for a while. And one of my friends, and she was my business coach, she found out the hard way because she ended up getting a bill for $18,000 because of the images that she had used. And she actually bought them, but she didn't realize that the person she bought them from had been just taking them from Google. So here's a statement I'm going to make that you may challenge me on this, and I'm okay with being challenged, but presentations matter more than book signings. I don't know how many of you have been in a situation where you had a book signing and virtually no one showed up and you didn't sell a single book. Kathy, you and I did that together, right? We were at the Blue Willow bookstore, and lots of people there, no books. And so we talked about it. You know, her book is a book on divorce. It's a fiction book, her story actually. So are people afraid to buy a book on divorce in a bookstore where people are watching them? Don't know. So look at the presentations. Your presentation is going to be more important to your book sales and to your revenue. So when you put down all your, I don't know how you do it as a business, but when you list all of your revenue streams, that means all the ways that you make money. Selling books is number one, or the biggest way you should be making money. But from selling books, then what happens below that? Like, how do you sell them? Presentations. How do you sell them? Bookstores. How do you sell them? Email blast, email list. So all these ways that we know and should be practicing to sell books. This is one presentations. When you give a presentation and sell books at the back of the room, you've heard me say it, you will continue to hear me say it. You have the highest level of profit margin that you will ever have. Because if you sell it through, if you sell it through from your website, they buy directly from your website, and you do the fulfillment, then I think you would probably, I can't think of anybody that would get part of it there except the printer. And it's only person you're paying is the printer, whoever that is, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Ingram Spark, or whether it's you go take your files to a printer and they give you books back. No matter how, that printing cost, when you're doing the back of the room signings, the printing cost of your book is your only expense for those books. Now, you may have marketing material to help sell them. You may have all kind of stuff to go with that book, and I encourage you to do that, more revenue streams, but your margin on the books itself. So presentations are going to be more important, so pay attention, than book signings. You heard the whole thing about signature speech last week, so I am not going to go into that. Just develop your own unique presentation. And I am happy to have you come talk to me about what could be your unique presentation. Because if you write a fiction book, a fiction like a fantasy or like a horror, like the one we had a book launch last Saturday, and probably the most fun book launch I've ever had, mainly because she had a signature cocktail that went with her book. And so we encouraged her to get a signature cocktail for all of her books. And we had a great time. She had a great time. We did, and she sold books. So whatever your unique presentation is. For example, Kathy Horizon, who has the book on divorce, and we're relaunching it. Kathy, there's all kind of presentations that you do and could do on helping people after they're divorced to find a new life, to find, wherever they are. Kathy has a book, and she has a program already that was part of the book. We're taking it out. All of that Kathy has, and she could speak on that. She could have that be her unique presentation if she wanted to focus on that book. However, she has other books. And so the best thing, my recommendation, Kathy, and all of you, is have a presentation for each genre, or each, like in your case, Dawn, you have fiction books that are, what genres are your fiction books? I thought it wasn't working for you, and I hit it, and I muted you again.
Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have Cozy Mysteries. There's three, I'll say three and a half in that series. I have my adult shapeshifter books, which that is adult material. I'm working on the fourth one of that. Prophecy of Fall series, that's young adult fantasy science fiction with a lot of creatures. Then I have a dystopian set in 2086 called The Last Dog. And then I have a science fiction romance adventure. And then on the nonfiction side, I've got, the Puppy Baby book. I've got Mastering Your Money, Writer's Preparation Handbook, and then What's Breaking Your
So
Budget.
the easiest thing for you to do, the easiest speech for you is going to be your nonfiction books, right? I mean, that's just like a no-brainer to have a presentation on those books. The money book makes a presentation, and the writing book, a great presentation. Yeah. So as a fiction writer, one of the things that you can speak on is how you do how you write. Tell the story of what you do. How do you do the character development? How do you do the plot? How do you plan it out? Do you map it out? So authors that want to be authors, fiction authors, have no clue about how to do that. If I sat down now to write a fiction book, I would not know where to start. And that's after I've read lots of books, and I've worked with lots of books here, helping them with their book launch. I have no clue how you sit down and get your characters and I would have guessed you have to kind of plan it out. But anyway, so that would be Dawn's, and then Kathy's. So I'm not going to go down the list of everybody. They just happen to be the ones that are on my screen right now. So I picked on them. So we had the thing last week. So I'm going to ask you, probably not tonight, but I'm going to be asking you, do you have a signature speech, and what is your signature speech? We talked a little bit about it last week in the mastermind. So the next thing, and it's not like it's not like a linear path, okay? You don't have to get your signature speech together and practiced and ready, and then start your press kit, no. While you're working on your speech, remember your speaker press kit, which means, you know what a press kit is, right? Everybody knows what a press kit is. It's what you're going to take to the media. It's a media kit or press kit. Your speaker press kit, and I'm not sure that it's called that altogether. Speaker kit, I'm not sure. But anyway, where you would have like a one sheet in your media kit, I'm gonna call that a media kit, and this is a speaker kit. You have your information over here for the book, the stuff you want the media to know, but you have a one sheet. So, and that's just like a picture of your book, a blurb about your book, some of the reviews. It can be front and back. If you want to look at great one sheets, go to Judith Briles, and that's at briles.com, BRILES, and she's got a one sheet on there that really is magnanimous. I love her work. I mean, it's not her work, somebody did it for her, but still, I love it. And then for here, you want a speaker for your speaker kit. You want this to be a little bit different than the media kit. You want this one to have, what is your signature speech? You want that in the press kit, just an outline of it. You want to have, you still want to have your book and testimonies about the book. You want to have a bio about you. This is one of the things we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks, is working on your bio, because I want you to know how to have a little teeny tiny 50-word bio that grabs, I mean, just reaches out and somebody's looking at it and just hooks them and draws them in. I want that good, and we're going to work on those in the mastermind in the next couple of weeks. I got lots of stuff going on for the mastermind. So I will ask you you create the 25 words, bring it to our mastermind, and then we're going to all share and help each other with our mini bios. Now that mini bio is a great thing to use when you're posting in some of the Facebook groups and you want to let them know you're a speaker, but you don't want to say, hey guys, are you looking for a speaker? How about checking me out? You want to be a little more subtle than that. You want to build a relationship. So you make a comment, great idea, whoever said the idea, and then put your signature there. And your signature would be Dawn Ireland, DawnGreenfieldIreland.com. And then whatever your speaking is going to be, maybe your money matters, or maybe it depends on the group. If you're in a money group, you want to mention that you have a speech on money and a book on money. If you're in a writer's group, you want to talk about that you have a speech on a speech and a book on writing. So all of you think of that. And if you write fiction, then we're going to talk about your platform. What platform do you have as a speaker that complements or comes right out of your book? So I can't wait. That's fun to do. So be thinking about your speaker press kit. We would have a press release in there, just like we've done. I mean, it's just like the media kit, only focused on the speaking. And that's where you want to have that picture of you in front of the audience, holding the microphone and speaking away. Another thing that's very important, and I had not thought about this till today when I was doing the research, I told Amy, I said, I've got to go look at all of these people that I follow and see what they say about speaking, because I knew I had to do my presentation, and I want to make sure what I'm telling you is what, the person from the Writer magazine, I forget, Jane Friedman. And then there's Mark Dawson, and then there's all these other people that write blogs on their speaking and things like that. And I found some great information. So if you want to read all of it, I'll be happy to share it with you. So speaker kit. The thing I was going to say though is you need a video. And I hadn't thought of that, but I did think of it as I was reading it, and I thought that is so good. Because if you just think about it, if you and your organization is looking for a speaker to come speak to your group, if I'm looking for a speaker to come here on Monday night to speak to our group, even if it's Zoom, then I want to know that that's a good speaker, right? I mean, wouldn't you want to know that it's a good speaker? Kathy, if you're bringing somebody to one of the churches where you will be and they ask you to get a speaker, Don't you want to hear what they sound like and what they say before you bring them? Because, you know, once they get up there and start talking, it's just a little too late. So that's what you want people to be able to hear you. So I want you to, we're going to work on this. Everything I'm telling you, we will work on here. So I want to find out when you want to do your speech. And it doesn't have to be your signature speech, but that would be a plus if you did. And you don't want the 30 minutes. You want a snippet. We call it the author talk shorts. When we're working with we have one of our authors on Author Talk, and we want to have them on again right before their launch. We do a 5-minute interview with them, and that's an Author Talk short. So you want to have a video short of you speaking, and then you want to have the whole thing too. So Lydia, we may be calling on you and seeing how much you'll charge to do some of these, put stuff together, but you and I'll get together on that one. Okay, so onward and upward is your audience. Okay, I know people get tired of hearing this. I seriously do, because I get tired of saying it. So it's so important that you know who your audience is, that you identify them, that you know where they are at any time, that you know how to reach them, you know what their heart wants. I mean, it really is, who is your audience? Now, I can tell you that at one time I would not have been an audience for anyone. So people can switch, remember? So that's why you want to stay up to date. I would never have been an audience for a horror book or a horror movie or anything. But since I work with books, it would be horror books until the book launch that I had Saturday night. And I'm telling you, I was so impressed with her and what she had to say. And she read a blurb from her 3rd book, which will be coming out in October. So 3rd novel, and she has 2 that are short stories. And it just blew me away to hear what she wrote. And I'm like, oh, I want to read that whole book. So your audience changes in and out. So we're going to go over a few things about your audience now. So you want to, because of your audience, because you want to know who your audience is so much that you can actually picture them, picture what they're saying, picture what they look like, picture your readers. So here we go. Number 1, which trade groups would your readers be a member of, if any? And remember, we're counting author organizations or writer organizations as a trade group or organization. So if that's where your readers would hang out, then yeah, we want to talk about authors, we want to talk about author groups, we want to talk about writing conferences. I had the greatest experience today, I have to tell you this. Speaking of writers conferences, I used to go to, and Lydia, you will love this too. I used to go to a writers conference called Lexicon. Remember Lexicon, Lydia? That's where I met Lydia. I think I met you guys there. No? Okay. Anyway, it was in Denton, Texas, which nobody told me Denton, Texas is like Oklahoma practically, or whatever the next state is there. I think it's Oklahoma. So I drove the first time, and went to this writers conference. And before I went, so I had booked one of my clients to speak, and he's the guy from Austin who wrote historical fiction. I also had him speak at the Historical Novel Society. He was a very, very good speaker and writer. He was not the nicest person about if they were 1 minute late getting to him, he was like, and so I'm like, okay. But I always went, and he was one of those, and I love him to death, but he was one of those speakers that I don't like. And that's the ones that come in 5 minutes before they're doing their presentation, and when it's over, they're gone. They don't mix and mingle, they're not friendly, they're nothing. So I had him on, he spoke, did a great job. And so before we went, when I was looking for people, how many people were going and everything, I was on Amazon at his book, checking to see if there's any new reviews and stuff like that. And I found this place where you can go, and I haven't been for a while. I should go back again, but it's a place where you can go and have conversations about books. I forgot what it was called, but you just go in there and start, it's just like a bulletin board kind of thing. And so I started posting about the book festival, Lexicon, and inviting people there. And I would always tell them about him. And so when I mentioned him, someone responded to me and said, he sounds like a great speaker, and can you send me more information? Here's my email address. So I did. And her name is Nancy Pendleton. Her husband writes historical fiction. They came to Lexicon, and they came up to me and said, we're here. We came because you invited us in that focus group on Amazon. And anyway, they showed up. We had a great time. My client came, spoke, left, and I stayed, and we had a great time the whole time. That was because Lexicon's been gone for about 5 years, and it lasted about 4 or 5 years. So probably about 10 years ago that happened. This morning I get up and I go to my email, and there is an email, and she goes, "Hi, I'm Nancy Pendleton. Do you remember me?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." And she said, "So I have a friend who sends me editing and proofreading to do for her books, and she has a company, and she has a publishing company, and so she just sent me a new author to do the proofreading for, and I have just fallen in love with this person's books, and I've already talked to her, and she's looking for a publicist. Can I send her to you?" And I'm like, "Of course." And I mean, I've been reading this, and she said, "By the way, my friend who sent her to me is Andrea Flores. She's in the Dallas area, and that Andrea Flores is the cousin of Tom that wrote the 2 Feet book that we just published a few months ago." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, and I have an appointment with Andrea tomorrow to talk about her book that's coming out." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I mean, this is such a God thing for me. And that's how I see it. It's like, God's just kind of moving people to be in the right place where we meet. And the fact that I met her on Amazon at one of the focus groups, and now, this many years later, it just excites the daylights out of me. So anyway, so figure out from your authors, not your authors, your readers, where would they be? What organizations would your readers join? So there's a lot of them. There's all these fanfare, whatever websites and places you can go as a reader. There's all kind of stuff that we could talk about as far as organizations or groups where people could go. So then which organizations, which locations have events? So right now everybody's having virtual events, but hey, they need speakers for their virtual events. James will be speaking at a local library event on July the 11th, right? Is that it, James?
Yeah. I realize not everybody can see me shaking my head.
Thanks. And I needed to get a drink really desperately, so thank you.
I'm doing one Wednesday night for a library.
Oh,
in New
Julie.
England.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for saying that, because I wanted to make sure we announced that. So that today is it's tomorrow, isn't it?
This is Kathy. Are you talking to Julie?
I'm talking to Julie.
Oh,
Okay, yes, mine is tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
Okay.
Kathy also has one.
And I'm sorry, Kathy, I did not know that was you talking. I thought it was
okay.
because
Yeah,
I
mine
knew
is,
in my mind I wanted to make sure we remembered Julie's event, and so I didn't know you had an event, Kathy.
Yeah, Wednesday night at a library in New Jersey.
Oh my God! So can you invite
England.
people to be there?
Yeah, I sent the link out on a variety of places this week. In fact, I put it on this group's Author Talk group.
Oh, Author Talk. Okay.
I think I did.
So,
Yeah.
can you just post it right on my main page?
Yeah.
Because that's where most people go, and I want everybody to know about that. And Julie, you too, please. Julie will be speaking at the Brazos bookstore virtually, and I can't wait for that. and Julie, did you already post the link in my Facebook?
I put a notice up on Through the Eyes. I don't know if the link worked because it was cut and paste. But I think it did.
Okay, I'll go. Amy, can you check that out and make sure that's a good link?
And Kathy also posted on Through the Eyes because that's where I saw her announcement.
Yeah, she just said that. I just had not seen it. So thank you both for doing that. So whatever organization you're a member of, or you think your readers are a member of, or you know your readers are a member of, then you want to look to see which ones host events or have organizations that meet. Do you know that there are, I heard someone say this once, there are, I forget how many hundreds of thousands of associations there are in this country. There's an association for everything. And these associations have meetings, they have conferences on a normal basis, and they're always looking for speakers. So I tell you guys the other day, my tip was to use, to set up a Google alert, which I have not showed you how to do that yet either. I'd forgotten about that. But if you know how to set up a Google alert, set that up and use the words, the key words that you're looking for are call to speak or call to present. And even if you don't know how to set up a Google alert, you can still search Google for those things, call to speak, call to present, and look to see what organizations are looking for speakers. And remember though, when you do your pitch and they say, can you send me your speaker kit? Or can you send me a video of you doing the presentation? If you don't have it, then that means you're going to have to get back with them again when you get it done, and they may not even be interested at that time. So start working now. I mean, ASAP, it is critical. Start getting your stuff together now to do speaking. And I don't think that's like an optional thing. Should I speak? Should I not speak? No, speak. So that's how you're going to sell books, and that's how you're going to get a bigger profit margin. So we're still talking about your audience. So if you know, then, I mean, is your book appealing more to men or to women? So Athena, we know your book appeals more to women, even though it should appeal to men too. So I mean, I just love every now and then around Christmas, I love watching the Hallmark movies, and I just love how some of the younger men in my family describe it. They're like, okay, some good-looking woman had a potential husband in the city who was making lots of money and wanted to marry her, but something happens back in her hometown and she has to go back home, and there she meets a farmer that she falls in love with. I'm like, yeah, that does happen in some of them, but that's exciting. And women don't, you know, that shows you that women don't base their decisions on money and things like that. So anyway, what percentage is it? Mainly, is it more than 50% women, more than 50% men? And so I wanted a couple of you to answer that. So David Baylog, so what do you think about yours? Is it mostly women or mostly men?
It's hard to say since I don't have anything out there yet.
But you want to know that before it comes out, because when it comes out, we've got to target those people.
Right. I want to say probably mostly male, but I'm trying to move to a more balanced percentage.
So if your audience is more men, which a lot of yours will be, if it's science fiction kind of stuff, then remember, here's another statistic for you, that women buy the majority of books in this country. I mean, it's like over 70%, maybe even 80%. I don't know. It's high. So that, therefore, if the people who would read your book are men, then you're still going to market to women as a buy a gift for your husband for Father's Day, buy a gift for your husband for the holidays, birthdays, whatever. So really, your marketing, your message is going to be to women, whether they are the readers or they are the ones that buy them as gifts. So just keep that in mind when we're doing our marketing campaigns. Are your audience typically introvert or extrovert? So, Hyatt, what about you? How do you think about that one? You're muted. You're still muted. There. Nope.
Find me.
There you are. Okay.
All right, I had to find myself on the grid here. What was your question again? Excuse me.
Are your readers more introverts? So people that go to, basically, you know, your audience is, for your one book, is people that participate in trade shows.
Extroverts.
Okay, they are extroverts. Okay.
Yeah.
What would happen to an introvert that got in a trade show?
Die. He or she would almost feel attacked, or they would fail to have the what's the word I'm looking for? Almost the attack. You almost have to have an attack mentality, warrior mentality, to get out there and challenge people. Yeah.
I hear you. Believe me, that used to be one of my favorite things to do in the trade show, but people would look at me and say, "You've got to be kidding me." I'm like, no. If you don't go out there and meet them and bring them to the booth, they're not going to just all of a sudden come flocking in. So, yeah. So, okay.
Yeah. In fact, I'm doing a presentation tomorrow on the 5 lead questions of who, what, when, where, how.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. And you're going to talk about your book, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What is this group? Do they know about your book already?
No, this is Network Texas. So yes, they do. However, I'm going to weave it into the book that supposedly is dead in the water, and that's 88 successful event strategies, because nobody's doing events. But I did a webinar with a company called Pathable that does virtual trade shows, and we had over 500 people on the webinar wanting to figure out how to use open-ended questions in a virtual trade show. And I started to realize that now those 5 words, when you are looking to get somebody to qualify or disqualify themselves, start your presentation with, who's responsible for this in your company? What application do you have for this in your company? Where in your company do you use this? When was the last time you used this? Who in your company uses this?
Okay.
And okay. To qualify themselves or disqualify themselves.
Sounds good. So be thinking of whether that was a great illustration example too, Hyatt. So yes, I can see where when I've done that with authors and we'd have a booth and at the Texas Library Association or some of those, and it does get to be a little overwhelming for those people in the booth or those people, and most of them stay in the booth behind the table. Well, so yes.
The interesting thing is, and Red and I have done book fairs. A lot of us have done book fairs. When you challenge the delegates with a simple question, when was the last time you read a book like this? Or what application do you have for this? They want to talk with you. And when you lead them in the right direction, they will go there, or they will tell you that's not where I want to go.
Yeah, I mean it's an information gathering thing to do with people there. So great. Thank you, Hyatt. Thank you for letting me make you the example. So look at whether yours are, so Janice, I just saw that you were here, so thank you for joining us. Janice, your audience, so right now we know one audience of yours is going to be educators. And so I don't know if you saw, so I saw an article today and I shared it, and I don't normally share things controversial or political or religious or whatever on my personal page. I try to stay really, middle of the line. However, I saw one this morning that I just could not share. And so if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see it. But the Dallas Morning News, someone had written an article that the only way we're going to ever change the systemic racism in this country is education. It's the only way. And so I have a granddaughter, remember, that teaches 4th grade, and she's already been, very active and helping out and even going to protests and stuff. So, so I love that. And I did share that this morning. So if you get a chance to look at it, I'd love to know your thoughts on that as well.
All
So
right.
that's what you are in education.
Yes. I'll be doing a speech workshop with the teachers when they come in August at my school.
Ah, okay. That's great.
That's what I'm working on now.
And so what is your speech that you give to people? This will be the current teachers, right?
Yes. And, because I retired, so I am, I met with the principal, and I'm supposed to meet with him next week to see exactly how he wants this set up. But I'll be talking about how once children go back into school, what they need to do and how to talk to the kids about what has happened all summer, and the importance that the role that teachers and educators play in this whole deal with racism and getting the young children to understand that we treat everybody the same.
You definitely have a challenge, I'm sure. And I'm sure you're up to it. And I love your book and I love everything you're doing. So just let me know what I can do to help you anytime.
All right.
And Dawn, I was thinking about you too with your multiple genres. So we may want to come up with a sample reader, more than one for you. And we'll talk about that when we have our weekly meeting this week.
Okay.
So what age are you? What age? That's a big thing, and a lot of you know that it's if you're writing a young adult or new adult, you know that, and that's another thing. If I sat down, I wouldn't even know. Am I writing young adult or am I writing adult? So know that kind of stuff. And some of you as authors, experienced authors, know how to teach that. So why aren't you? Teach that to some of the young writers. I'm sure if you got with someone from the Writers Guild, absolutely. We have a Saturday social now from 10 to 11. Great place to speak. And then Write Space is still having they're having their program. It's virtual, but they have 3 or 4 workshops a week. Make sure you contact them if your workshop is something that would be, go look to see though. Don't just start sending them and stuff. Go look to see what they're looking for and see if you can submit. And we'll talk more about that later. Where do they hang out? And that means social media, virtually, in person. Where would you find people? I can tell you that you can find people that read science fiction just about anywhere you look, and a fantasy, because that is becoming so popular, or at least I'm just now being present and exposed to it. So where do they hang out? Look on Facebook, look wherever, one of the things we've done with doing our research for Amazon and Facebook is go look to see who their friends are and who that friend's friends are. And so look for them. Find, if you don't want to be friends with everybody because Facebook won't let you, but you can go to Twitter and follow anybody and everybody. So do that and send them a message. So that's a great place to start. Okay, so another thing you can do besides speaking, now we finished the little part about about your readers, and so you can you can have a panel discussion. We've had a few panel discussions here when we have one for different publishers, and then we had different people. So having a panel discussion is a great way to get the information out about it's great for several things. First of all, you're leveraging your audience and somebody else's audience. If you got 4 people on the panel, you're leveraging 4 audiences to get them there to hear what you have to say and to sell books. So I really 100% recommend that once we can have in-person meetings specifically, that you create a panel. Janice, you could have the best panel in the world on education because you know educators. You've been in that field for 30-something years, and worked with kids and taught. Was it second grade you taught the whole time, or most of the time?
I've taught all the way up to middle school. From
But never,
kindergarten to middle.
never high school, huh?
Never high school. 8th grade was high enough.
I don't blame you. Okay, so that's another idea, though. What I'm giving you now is some ideas, and I have lots more where these came from, but we're not going to go into all of them tonight. So begin locally. Whatever you do, start with local networking groups, virtual events. You know, I could start with women's groups. Kathy, women's groups in Houston, a great place for you to look. So start looking locally, and then look, then go look to Austin or to Dallas or somewhere in Texas, basically in Texas to start with. For those of you that are in Texas, for those of you that are not in Texas, you're welcome to come to Texas. But I would recommend that you start where you are first and then spread out. That way you don't have the expense of travel. You don't have a lot of expenses that you would have if you start going, because I know you want to go into speaking for making money and selling lots and lots and lots of books, but you are going to start slowly. You're going to start small. You're going to start with 10 people in the audience in a Rotary Club, or, like we have here, 16 people in on Zoom. And I can tell you that the person that was here last week, Felicia, she gets paid lots of money to speak. But she has, like smaller programs that cost a lot less. And that's what she was promoting here last week. And she didn't charge me anything to speak. She was happy to do it. So, and that's after years and years and years and years of being in the business. So just consider that there's always going to be a side of you that's going to be wanting to meet new people. And sometimes to do that, you have to not get paid, or you have to pay. When I went to, when I first went to Dallas and met Judith, so that was like, I think 3 years ago, Lydia, was that 3 years ago? And then, so I met Judith, and that was in July. And then, so she invited me to come to Colorado for her some big thing she was doing in October. So 3 months away, or at the most. And she did not pay me to come there. As a matter of fact, she charged me. She said, I'll give you a deal. I'll let you in for this amount of money if you come, and I'll promote you from the stage and all that. Okay, that sounds like a good deal to me. I paid the $500 and went. And I can't tell you how many clients I have had over the years, and still since then, and still have others that I check on regularly. And then from there, that led to her coming to Houston. That led to me going on a cruise, the first cruise. And then I met such good people. And I really like the cruise because you can sit down and talk to people for a week. It's not just like you get 1 hour and then they have to decide if they want to hire me, and I have to decide if I want them to hire me. No, you have a whole week. James and I and Athena talked all week long. And so I talked with some others all week long. It's just a great, great way to get to know people. I wish the cruise ship wasn't in such a dangerous kind of place to go now. But anyway, begin locally, then regionally. So, and then you start contacting your potential venues. So there's all kind of venues around Houston. If you drive around, you can see them. And so contact them, or look online on Google and look for them. And they're probably not having any events right now. But look to see if they're having any virtual events, or just look up virtual events, Houston, Texas. You'll find lots and lots of them. Look on Facebook. But start contacting those venues and see what events they have coming up, and who the host is or hostess, and you'll get an idea. Contact them. And here's one of the things you can always do, and I love doing this, and that has worked for me lots of times. So it's never about what can they do for you. It's about what you can do for them. So when you contact this group, like one of the women's groups in Houston, if you contact them, you see they're having an event, and what you do is contact them and introduce yourself. And you are like, you know, I know you're booked with speakers for this event. I just wanted you to know that if there's anything I can do to help you, I want you to call on me. I'll be glad to come help you set up. I'll be glad to help you clean up. I'll help you. I always offer to help spread the word through social media or other ways, even a press release. So offer to help them. And then as you're helping them, just make sure that you tell them, you know, if, by the way, if anybody cancels, I would love to speak at your event. But make sure you're in there, make sure you're doing stuff, make sure you're getting to know them, make sure they know you, they see your value. And that was the end. Wow. Okay, so that was perfect. 3 minutes. So, first of all, any questions?
No question, but a comment.
Okay.
So I rehearsed my speech for Wednesday night with somebody this morning that teaches voice lessons, and the helpful feedback she gave me, because it's so counterintuitive, is don't look at the faces of people on a Zoom meeting, because then it looks like you're looking down. Look at the little bright
Look
light
at the
of
little
the
gray
camera.
line.
But that's just so counterintuitive for me, who's so used to looking people in the face when I talk to them. I just feel like I'm looking over your head and ignoring you.
I do too, Kathy. So thank you for saying that, because I do not look at that little green light. I do feel like I'm like not seeing people. Thank you for that. Any questions or comments? Anybody have a comment? Okay, so thank you, Dawn. So I do want to make sure you know that I'm going to attend that Pamela Hutchins event again this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. She sent me a note and said, I have an open slot, and if you're interested, it's free. So I'm like, okay, I really need to hear that stuff over again. One time was not enough for me. I mean, I have to have Amy there every time. I'm terrified to drift off on my own, afraid I'll lose all this money doing this. So, so I'm going to attend this again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. However, since I've already done it once, I am going to be available by phone or whatever. I'm just not going to do any hour-long meetings during those times. And I think it's 9 to 3 or something. So if you want to meet with me, it'll be after that. And so it won't affect any of our evening meetings. James, it won't affect yours. David, yours. So I'll see all of you at the regular time. And if nobody has any other questions, then right now the plan is to go full speed ahead with the mastermind, and I'll be there if I can. If not, Amy can handle it, and we'll talk about, we'll continue to talk about the speaking and get some ideas. I want you to be thinking though, and I want you to be able to tell us on Friday, tell us something about your readers, something about your message, your speaking message, and how you're going to, and then let's talk about the recording. Do you want to do your presentation and we record it we help you with that? Are you want to do it on your own? You're good. I'm good. So just let me know if we can help you. We always offer to help you, but I can't force you to let me help you. So keep that in mind. I'd like to sometimes. So David Morse, thanks again for joining us today. Zach, good to see you. Just saw that you were here. Anybody else I didn't talk to earlier?
Sandy.
So I don't think so. So I will see you guys whenever our scheduled meetings are, and the rest of you, and I'll see everybody on Friday. Have a great rest of the week.